Okay. The meeting is recorded for future viewing. We're privileged to gather on the traditional territory of the Kwakwaka'wakw. And we're calling to order at whatever time it is. Okay. Adopt the agenda. Anybody move to with the amendment of the in-camera section going into in-camera section 90. Section 90E, echo. Anyone move to?
I'll move this to accept the agenda as amended.
Second. Okay, further discussion? All in favor, okay. Adoption of the minutes of the December 6th meeting of the whole meeting. I will move to accept.
Minutes.
Moved, seconded. Any discussion, all in favor? Okay. Correspondence. Request for the old school gym rental. Should we swap the order of these so that the dear folks from the crisis and counseling can get back on the road to Port Hardy?
Okay,
Since I don't think we have a delegation here from. Okay,
I will be excusing myself from this conversation due to a conflict of interest.
are you going up for a smoke?
I am, well, yes. Maybe the city.
Okay, is that okay to just swap that around? Does that take anything formal to do? This will give you a few minutes to go a little slower on the road then today, so. Got your letter, and do we want to just speak to the situation at hand, turn the floor over?
Sure. So my name is Nikki Ranger and I'm Executive Director of the Crisis Counseling Center, and I've brought with me Sue Haskins, who's one of our team leaders for our youth programs. And so thank you for having us and hearing our application for the COVID granted aid funding. So we've been working and providing services for McNeil for a number of years, and we have leased space in McNeil for a number of years. We have grown over the years. We have about 51 employees now delivering service in 22 different program areas directed at children, families, infants, all the way up to seniors. We have 15 of our staff who actually live in Port McNeil. Particularly since COVID, but certainly growing over the years, our service demand in Port McNeil has exploded, particularly in the last year. We have 16 employees who are coming to Port McNeil every week to deliver service weekly. That includes counseling, better at home for seniors, outreach programs, family outreach, women's outreach, youth outreach. So a number of programs are already delivering service here. Our issue is that we have grown beyond the space that we have, and we can't bring some of the programs that we need to bring in the way that we can because we've outgrown our space. So we currently lease a small space over Tia's. It's single-use space, so the staff can only use it one at a time. So when a counselor has an appointment, that's it. When there's a play group going, that's it. When there's a woman who needs to meet there for outreach, that's all that can happen. So everybody else has to jockey around it or work out of their car or go into a school or sort of figure it out. And there has been some safety issues that have presented in that space recently. So because it's single use, there's not a lot of people up there anymore in that area. The people are working alone. We've had some people confronted and it's presented some safety issues as well. And like I said, it's single use. So we've been looking for about a year for a multi-use space for a counseling appointment in an office, play group over here. We have a family support program that provides services for children and youth with disabilities that we need wheelchair accessible space. We can't find that. In Port McNeil, we've currently delivered that service in Port Hardy. We've been asked to bring it to Port McNeil for a long time. We just can't find the space. So we have an opportunity, a unique opportunity has presented itself to us where we can cost share with the owner of space in Port McNeil typically commercial space is 100% tenant improvement. We don't have the capacity to do that. Currently building Foundry, which we also need space to bring to Port McNeill in the future. We don't have the capacity to do 100% tenant improvement. This opportunity is presented where it would be 50% tenant improvement, where we would be required to contribute about 50% upfront. We don't have the ability to do that without some assistance. The grants that are available to us in other places do not allow for capital development, do not allow for lease improvement development. They're for program delivery and that sort of thing. So we became aware of your grant and funding, and I think we're hoping it fits with what we're looking for. We have an opportunity to lease a space in Port McNeill January 1st. We don't want to move forward with that if we don't have the ability to contribute to the renovations that we need to suit. And we're not talking about complicated renovations. We're talking about walls, flooring, a wheelchair accessible bathroom, enough to get us going and in the space. Over time, we're confident we can develop that space over years where we can do that ourselves. We just can't get in it to put up the walls and provide the, it's a very good space. So we need to put up some walls and a wheelchair accessible. So that's that. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions. I hope I remembered everything.
Okay.
For the benefit of the public, I had asked earlier, but I'll ask again, is, what is the length of the lease that you'll be looking at?
So in my conversations with the owner, we are entitled to rent 4 years, and as long as we need, and they're interested in a long-term lease, as are we. We're not interested in moving, we're not interested in contributing money to a place that we have to move up to soon. So we're looking at long-term years lease.
So what would be your minimum, like your starting point for your opening lease?
Oh, good question. I would likely look at a 5-year lease or a 10-year lease. So. The other thing I want to add, if I may, is that we're good community partners. And we're not interested in duplicating or competing services with people who already provide services in Port McNeill. We work really well with other community agencies to complement and support the good work that they're doing, and they work and help support the good work that we're doing. So not looking to be in competition with anybody or duplicating the services. We really are filling the gap and trying to meet the demand that we already see. We have about 35 to 40% of our current leases based on the McNeill right now. And I can't tell you how many are on the wait list, so lots, but that's just active clients. I know there's a number on the wait list, but I don't have that. It was hard for me to get here.
Question. If you were to get this space with your 35 to 40% of people here, and then there are people waitlisted, if you get this opportunity to have your space here, is that going to be able to get you guys more people to help as well?
Yeah, well, we won't have more staff necessarily, but what we will allow is that people can work multiply. So right now they can't, we can only provide service to Port McNeill clients one at a time, basically.
Yeah.
So we would be able to provide multiple service, which would allow us to come to provide service at the same time. So we would take people off the wait list because counselors in Port McNeill could now work multiple. So like we have a family counselor, a sexual abuse counselor, child youth counselor, stop the violence counselor, children with abuse counselor, and as of yesterday, we've just received funding through Island Health through a men's counselor. So they don't have to work one at a time. Now they can be able to go in and work at the same time, which would increase service.
That's great. Thank you.
Any more questions?
The women camera under property might it be appropriate to move this to in camera to include some other options.
Yeah, I don't know. We're comfortable to
Oh.
move that into tonight's in camera.
Since we're already going in under on the property.
I second that.
Okay. So we'll take that solid information and great presentation. And
I'm sure I forgot something. I apologize.
That's good, your report is good.
Yeah.
Yes, it's great. That's very thorough.
And we do understand that you are on a time crunch.
Yes, just because we have a January 1st auction. In terms of, just to sort of go back to your question, we will have extra staff at Programs Foundry. Foundry staff will be extra. We haven't hired them yet. This Foundry's not quite open. But Foundry will come as an outreach service to Port McNeil. We'll need a space in the future to do that. A men's counselor will also be hired shortly, so that will be some additional staff, but within that scope, service delivery hours for certain areas. I think it's amazing. It's really awesome.
you're quite the poker player.
Sorry.
That's what I keep in your cards to your chest. I don't know about you guys. I'm not sure.
The best of people need counseling.
Yes. The demand for counseling has been extraordinary. We have, as of with the men's counselor coming on board, we'll have 7 counselors and they're all waitlisted. And the demand for service is extraordinary. And we provide other things on the side of our desk, like we run the NICERM team. So when there's a critical incident in the community, we coordinate the response when there's a death or a, large incident. So we do a number of things. I could talk all night about the crisis center because I'm really passionate about it, but we do mutual services. We have just come on board with third-party reporting, which is a new program in the Northern Island. We did a news release about it a couple weeks ago. So it's having safe spaces in every community to do those things is really key.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, guys. Drive safely. Okay.
Okay.
all right.
Is that
I'll leave these with you.
please?
So there's our agency pamphlet and the new third party pamphlet. So it's beneficial to have our space for the third party. as well.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, one last question. Your guys' space that you're hoping to get,
Yes.
does it have your private access in? So if someone has to drive
Yes.
there and, okay,
Yes, it does. It's good to it.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Pass the
Thank you so much.
Guys. all right.
Thank you. Take care.
See ya. No.
Third party reporting.
No, I didn't.
Now you don't get to it. Sorry.
Okay, swinging back then to the old school and a letter from Kathy.
We're also on the run. Well, just something downstairs.
We must be smoking on the extra long cigarettes. What are those?
With on the stick. I'm not kidding, I got movies.
I see in Casablanca.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Am I allowed to be back in? You're allowed. Okay, welcome back. Sorry, I'm glad. I just thought.
you made me
Come
think
back
of it
in.
again several times. Not at this moment.
I'd like to move the report, by the donation request, for discussion, please.
Second,
So does that mean we're discussing it
Yes. Do I need
now?
Yes, I thought. Who? No, the old school.
Oh, the old school.
Okay, yeah, sorry, that, sorry. Yeah.
Let's go discussion on the Kathy Queen
Yes.
and whether or not they need heat and the process electricity while they're in there, et cetera. It's. Okay.
My thoughts on this is if it's a service that's being offered to the community for free, then I would support donating the use of the facility for free. If it provides something, if everybody's giving something, maybe the authors of the program and we as a community, so I would support it on that basis.
I agree with that.
It's being offered free of charge.
I understand that's.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, for 6 months. And then have a
Revisit it.
revisit it.
Because then maybe they could have a membership or something that they would.
Who knows what they might want to do? It might be over subscribed, it might be undersubscribed. But I think if we say 6 months with like a report back kind of statistically and usage wise. I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't, but if we find out that it's covered in garbage every week and it's causing extra consternation, then we do not want to continue it. So I just think to put a 6 month on it, everybody should be happy at the end of 6, but
Mhm.
and it forces a report, it forces,
But it brings the user back into the school too, right?
Mhm.
User back in.
Yep.
Right, so the gym would
So
be
I would-
use of them. Those 2 evenings and Saturdays.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 evenings, that's what it is.
The only wrinkle could be is if there was another, something else in the community that needed the gym for Saturday, they might override it, so maybe there would be some language that they would be preempted if something else came forward,
Like an event type of thing
an event or
Or a
something,
rental.
a rental for whatever. I mean,
that would generate.
I mean, scouts used to use the gym for sleepovers and stuff like that. I mean, just, I don't know what it would be, but if there was something else. Something that makes them flexible. Flexible on the Saturdays.
Do you think that's right up with the conversation? I think so. Did you move?
Sort of heating. Is that a discussion we care to open up, whether you have the room warm? We used to play basketball in the heat.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, play harder, would be my,
Yeah.
to the chills.
I think they're going into it knowing that it's
As in,
cool or sporadic at this point, so,
They play hard, so.
yeah.
Play tennis outside, right?
Did you actually move that then?
no, I just moved it for discussion, so.
Okay,
I just seconded
My
agreement.
one question is, because I'm not familiar with the pickleball sport, does that have potential to damage the walls in the building? No? Okay.
So I would motion that we support this request for a period of 6 months. And that the user would. There, we haven't talked about insurance or liabilities, but I'm presuming staff would cover that off on our behalf.
They actually, they had said that they would have their own insurance for the facility,
I thought they did.
and through the TPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've already provided. Just that, yeah.
okay. Well done. Okay, we have a motion.
So support the request for a period of 6 months.
Okay. Second,
With the flex on the Saturdays.
I think staff thought that there would be flex on the Saturday and a report after the 6 months, just giving us an idea of the uptake.
okay. Move seconds,
Second.
further discussion, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay, on to the tabled item of the old school meeting. Julian's here to answer all questions. We're interrupting his dinner, so we'll be brief. Are you with us, Julian? Maybe we're not interrupting his dinner.
I think the big
Can you hear
question,
me now?
Or the hot water ran off the boiler.
And it doesn't.
Okay.
Can Mayor and Council hear me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that was, I think, just our last question that came up from the last discussion was whether the boiler system was needed to run the hot water to the washrooms and to any of the adjacent rooms. But I think that has been answered for us now.
I feel like, because we did agree to go forward with 2 of the heat pumps, and I feel like now, knowing a little bit more from Julian that the boiler's still gonna have to be used to heat other spaces or somewhat this and that. I feel like it's almost an all or nothing, like we might as well do all of it if it's, the money is there for that. Install all the heat pumps, they are movable, removable, reusable somewhere else. But if we're still hoping to generate income from renting or from doing this or helping other people, we're gonna be letting our gym get used so people can exercise. I feel like the right thing to do is to go forward with all of them. So that we're not still paying a bill for this one boiler that will have to. Unless we're shutting the whole school down completely already, you know.
Yeah, and right now we've made that decision, so.
My understanding is that the boiler will still be running because there is no source of heat to the washrooms or the hallways and those washrooms prior to the boiler being repaired for high school. They are high school.
I thought there was one for hallways.
I read something about the doorways to the
But it does say
doors are open
5
to keep the hallway.
ductless indoor mount head with matching outdoor unit for hallways.
Oh, it doesn't say,
Third bullet.
And the washrooms not needed.
okay. Okay. Julian,
Yes.
mean that we will still need the boilers even if we go forward with all the heat pumps that are suggested for the bathrooms?
Well, yes and no. The doors to the washrooms themselves are always kept open. And the hallways will be heated, so there will be a significant amount of heat circulating into the washrooms. But along with that, there's room 1 and 6 with no heat, and some storage rooms, and also the teen center. And then there are 1 or 2 other rooms that will not be serviced with the heat pumps, but they have electric baseboard heat already, so they could be utilized. We could shut the boiler down and drain that system, and then we may have to look at some kind of excuse me, supplemental heat to the rooms which will not be serviced by the heat pumps and do not have baseboards currently, if that makes sense.
So the heat pumps that you're proposing, that's not going to heat the entirety of the old school building?
Correct.
No, Shelley?
So this came forward because our seniors were active again in room 5. And that when the first couple meetings they had, the boilers were not working. It was ice cold. Somebody would go in early, plug in heaters, turn on the stove, open the door, like do everything they could to try and get some heat moving through there. And the request was made of council, is like, can you do anything? And this is the report that we've got back. Since then, the boilers had some repair. It's working. I would, my thought, spending more time in the room and then looking at this report, I am actually going back to feeling just get the 2 pumps, 1 for room 5, 1 for, I think it was room 4. One of the other rooms that is used. Get the heat pumps for those 2, and for the rest, just leave it alone. And let's come up with a strategy, what we're gonna do in there, because in terms of, yeah.
I
do
agree,
that.
I agree with that. If it's not going to take that boiler right offline, then
Haven't really
Yeah.
improved our position.
And I completely agree with that because now we're still paying the costs, right?
Except to perform the current repairs to the system, the cost could be as high as 18,000. 10,800, 2,400, 2,400. We're almost at 18,000 if we put all those pieces in there.
but we're still
No,
running the
it's-
system.
We're at 11 plus another over 10,
Yeah, we're almost at $18,000.
21, and then you're at another.
I think what I'm saying is that there was a request made, a report came back. here's the decision. We really haven't fleshed out a lot of alternatives or had discussion about use and, you know, reporting and to know about what room is used. How is the teen center used? Because it isn't serviced under what's been proposed here. So we didn't do a full exposure. It was just a simple request, a report, and here we are. So I think that's my motivation for going 2 heaters, and let's do the rest of figure out what we're gonna do in terms of building usage and building life. My one question to staff would be is, we do have a grant available. When does that need to be used?
We just received it, so it's, yeah, it's. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, Ms. Carson?
May we please expedite somehow when we can decide what we're gonna do with the old school? If we're gonna just keep it at the 2 for now? In one of our upcoming meetings, perhaps? Or we could do a strategy meeting or something.
We're just waiting for you to change your mind, then we're. Then we're.
Yeah, you are, right? I see where
Hold
we're
on.
going.
Can I motion
Valid.
that we go through with it to continue on with the original motion, which was to install the 2 main pumps?
So you just want to receive this report first?
Receive your report for information.
Does that have us relying on that boiler working for the next 4 months, Julia?
Yes, it does. If we go with the 2, through the chair, if we do go with the 2 heat pumps, we'll have to have the single boiler running for sure.
Is the boiler running with all the other pumps?
No, it would not have to be. We can actually turn the boiler right off with all the other pumps. There will, however, there will be a few rooms and spaces without any heat.
Any freeze
And-
potential of water lines or taps in those rooms?
Mold.
No, that could be mitigated quite simply with space heater or something like that. I mean, just to keep things from freezing for sure.
So
There'd be a little bit more electricity.
Julian, the heat pumps that we've already authorized, are they on their way?
I have not pulled the trigger on them since I was waiting on the results from or the decision, sorry, from this report. But they're close by. It's not a problem.
Well, they were pretty quick delivery date, right?
Yep,
So
correct.
if,
Yep.
if we were to get those 2 in and the boiler, knock wood, is working right now, that would get us through the winter. So we can expedite, as Carson says. Gives us 3 months, 4 months before we hit into the summertime.
Well, for sure. Yeah, in the short term, it would keep the room 5, which is the seniors room with reliable heat, and then room 4, which is the second room that we rent the most, and the boiler would still be running to maintain the heat within the rest of the old school. But then, of course, the intent would be to turn that right down, and hopefully the fuel consumption would be considerably less, because all the other spaces are not being used.
Can we ask that once the liaisons are set up, if not through your liaison, through council, if all of a sudden, you know, it's catching on fire again or something, we get alerted to that sooner than later,
Absolutely.
please?
Yep, not a problem.
Okay, so we have a motion to
Receive warrant.
receive file.
Second.
Okay. Hearing no further discussion. All in favor? Thanks.
Thanks, Julian.
Not a problem.
Julian carry on with his dinner now?
Yeah.
Okay. Good night, Julian.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay. Council reports. Checklisting. Everybody spread over everything. And a motion to receive and file the checklisting.
I moved.
Moved,
Second.
second, no discussion, all in favor? Okay. Policy payment processing and due dates. Draft. Okay. Discussion, motion to,
I'll recommend that we approve the payment processing and due date policy.
okay,
Okay.
further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Okay. Harbor Authority report. Move to receive and file,
Second.
okay. All in favor or further discussion, right? See, there's an admin clerk, it says. Able to hear the story of an admin clerk was hired.
Troy's not here right now, through the chair. So one of our summer students, very minimal hours coming in and going through all the files. So a couple hours over Christmas, 3 hours in the machines there.
That's great. Okay, keep the student working. So, okay. Hearing no more discussion, all in favor? Mr. Wu's visitor experience monthly report. Receive and file. A mover. Moved, seconded.
Second.
Okay. Further discussion. Okay. Economic Development Monthly Report. It's done their meeting, so we're ready to hear a move to receive and file.
Make a motion to receive and file.
Okay.
I'll second, and then I just have a question or a comment. There's some things that are referenced in here, and I don't know whether it needs to be discussed here or whether it needs to be in Hamlet. But there's a statement, I'm continuing to pursue funding and support for more units to be added to the end of Fernie Place. Reached out to the local seniors housing group and hope to get more information early in 2023. It's property and its finances, and I'm wondering if we could have a more fulsome report in camera to find out what the actual details are surrounding that. I don't want to have the support here.
So we would like,
Would that, could we get that for our next meeting?
okay. All right,
We don't need to move and second that, right?
No, it's just.
just discussion. Okay. So any further discussion?
Maybe just if we can also maybe see if our economic developers touch base with anyone since the affordable housing conference. See if, because at the conference, there was a lot of people that had good ideas on how to get things moving with building and such, and this would actually kind of go with the seniors housing as well, so maybe we can see if any follow-ups been made on any of that.
Okay, for the January meeting,
Yeah, probably for in camera as well, perhaps.
okay. All right. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay. Garbage pile. Dun, dun, dun. The garbage pile.
Oh, I made it.
Moved.
Second.
Second. Further discussion?
Yes, I noticed that the time for reception is it's moving up to 7 AM. And I just wonder about that time slot, given that. I just wonder how possible that is, because you can't put it out the night before, some garbage fairs and stuff like that. But I mean, 7 AM, if you're,
Is that
yes,
just,
that may not be realistic.
is that just cleanup though? Because I believe Beach Drive is 7 AM. I think they're one of the first ones on the list, and I think they get their garbage picked up between 7 and 7:30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Woodland used to be like 7:45, so.
So this is actually just the
Just cleaning
language
up, I
is
think.
reflecting actual
Yeah.
practices.
Yeah, so through the chair, this was a request that Fred had made that we move it to 7 AM.
To reflect the actual practice,
Yeah.
not that we're changing anything. Okay.
I had a question why mobile homes was taken out and manufactured was put in, because aren't they two different buyers, homing bylaw, aren't they two different things? And they-
I won't speak about the current, but I'm sure the one is there. I don't know what the mobile.
Okay,
I think we reference it as manufacturing. But I will double check. Okay, so that's why we changed the language.
okay.
Okay, so we moved, the second is. And discussed. Okay, we're all in favor?
Motion for 3 readings.
Oh, wait, 3 readings.
Oh, it's done.
Okay. What do I do with that? Let's be clear, I don't know what they're doing at this stage. I see it was printed 3 times.
Are we allowed to read it 3
Can
times
go through
tonight?
it.
Yes, we're allowed to read it
Okay,
3 times tonight.
I recommend that we give first, second, and third readings of bylaw 7/14/2022 garbage and recycling.
I second that.
Someone doesn't have a dinner either. Okay. That was moved. Second is all in favor. Okay, covers us for the 1, 2, 3. Okay.
We'll do the 4 minutes meeting, get them as it was read, because it must be considered, you're gonna go back to 2, right?
We didn't do one of those in the last 4 years, so I'm not sure.
Yes, my knowledge of bylaws is not from the enforcement. From violating.
I've been nonprofits, things, so.
Old business, the option A.
I recommend that we ratify the recommendation that the town only accept credit card payments through the third party RT provider, option pay for a 1-year trial.
Second,
Seconded. Any discussion? One thing that makes it, it's nothing to do with debit card. It's just pure.
Just credit card.
Yep. All right, all in favor? 2 thing is. That put us at the moving camera section.
Yep.
Okay,
I motion that we move in camera under section 90E.
okay.
I'm expecting
That. Favor of that. Okay. There you go. Thank you for your time tonight.
Questions in the public meeting?
Oh, sorry, questions from the media.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Thank you there, yes.
Yep.
Okay. My first question is regarding the minutes from the Committee of the Whole meeting. So I was at that meeting and I did review it as well. The items, number 11, items from in camera to be made public. So I either missed that in the meeting or it happened maybe after the in camera. So I guess my question is, 11A, Brendan Johnson was appointed as the position of Chief Administrative Officer. corporate officer in addition to her position as chief financial officer. That's pretty clear, but previously, I believe she was in a temporary position. Does that mean this is a permanent position is my question.
Yes. Yes.
I think so, yes. You're reading that correctly.
Okay. Under the harbor report, it says docks E and K are closed, and I was just wondering why.
Because they've sustained damage from weather and questionable boat operating. So they are closed for anything other than moorage,
Pedestrian.
closed to pedestrian or open to pedestrians. Close to all, right, okay, yeah.
And could you say, is that from recent damage or sort of long-term problems or a specific incident?
Based on the engineering report that was conducted recently, yeah, it was, there's 2 months ago, there's damage and over time.
Okay,
Does
and just
that
wanna-
answer it?
it does, thanks. Just one other question regarding the option pay. So will that be for all credit card transactions for utilities and tax payments, or all, like if I go to the harbor to pay my mortgage or something on my Visa, is it just utilities and tax, or is it all transactions, whether it's the business license or your building permit?
Yep, so through the chair, this report is for all transactions. It could be business licenses, it could be if you had your animal impounded, you could pay on the weekend on our website. Harbor fees, small invoices, utilities, taxes, anything that we provide a service for that needs payment and you want to pay by your credit card, we should be able to have it set up to accept that.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Meredith. Okay.